Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a very special guest in the form of Angie, who is a Danish Kundalini yoga teacher and also creator of retreats. She has a vintage store. She has this really nice Instagram page that I found, I think, through Amanda Norgard or Leonora Tramberg or something, two other Danish women in this space that I follow. And then I just gravitated towards you, and I feel like I'm very curious about Kundalini yoga, and it's something that you've been practicing for a very long time. So it's a pleasure to have you here to share all your insights and how you found it and the benefits and how it works with the nervous system and the subtle bodies and all these things that I think are very empowering to learn about. So yeah, welcome and please share a bit about yourself for those who are new to you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Yeah, I think it's so cozy that we
Yeah.
I'm very, very inspired by many things. And I have like this, I am also a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
So that's why I have
You do many things.
And I always get so inspired, and I read a lot, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I definitely think that I incarnated this time to really, really involve and to learn. And one of the things I'm very, very interested in right now is why did I choose to come? And why did I pick my parents?
Yeah.
And why did I pick all these things that I am picking as a result of choosing to incarnate in this lifetime? And so I've been very interested in also my own role and my own my own.
Because you're a mother too, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I have a daughter that is 10, son that is almost 8.
Yeah.
I always knew that I wanted my own family and that I would be a mother one day. So I'm also I'm very into. I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
I believe in that I came here to learn so much and to have these specific parents could heal and learn and so forth. So I'm very much into now this taking a little bit my power back, maybe, and staying in victim mentality. I really love that I know deep in my heart, in my soul, that I came here to learn and that I actually are drawing all these experiences to me. I'm supposed to. So that all the relationship, all the contract, all the things, I chose that. And so that is something that is really liberating.
Yeah.
It is also very painful when you go through all these trauma, all these experiences. But I think at the end of it all, I chose them. And that gives me hope, and that gives me a purpose. And that's something I'm very interested in right now.
It's fascinating how if you start to realize that everything is in front of you to help you evolve and grow, and all the relationships are just mirrors for you to transform, it kind of shifts how you view everything. Even though it's tough, it's like, all right, it's here for a reason.
Yes, I totally believe that. And so it can also be very triggering for somebody to hear that. But for me, the spiritual experience, I believe that I came here to experience. And I'm also your Kundalini yoga teacher, and I have just this great love for these teachings, because I experience myself what it does to my system, it does to my to connecting to my soul, also what it does to my nervous system.
Yeah.
For many years I've been so into breathing and prana. This is the exercise
Extension kind of.
Yes, and it's also like breathwork, but it's called pranayama, because it's different techniques we have in Kundalini yoga. And for so many years, I experienced like these deep releases when I used one or practiced one for a longer time, and I still really into it and teach it every week. And also mantras now has taken my awareness and my
interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we can really
program ourselves, or it's very like the vibration.
Yes, it's the vibration, but it's also really getting deep into our own spirit, into our own selves, with the mantras. So you get into this trance state, kind of hypnotic state, but it really is like the chanting, the humming, all these things does wonders for your mind and your nervous system. Also very beautiful to experience in teaching in class when we chant together. It's like when you go to church. And it really touches something deep inside our heart, opens our hearts, so that we go deeper, and we are so interconnected in our magnetic fields. We can really I get so touched when we together. It's something that's very special.
Yeah, I've been in, my friend when I was living in Costa Rica would bring me to like mantra circles where you sat and they would sing a mantra and you would chant it, and the energy after like doing this for 1 hour or 1.5 hours, because I didn't really know what it was about, but then like you feel so elevated and connected to the people, and it really is like something that I assume people who go to church maybe experience, where you're like, that was something bigger than us that just happened, kind of. It's powerful. It's almost a bit like, whoa. And I also feel like, because the I guess it's is it Sanskrit mostly that you chant?
We chant in Gurumukhi in Kundalini yoga. So it's like these gurus who brought forth these mantras.
Yeah, because I feel them in themselves are like very truthful vibrations or something, which, as you said, like when you come into your body and you're like, wow, this feels so pure. Even though we don't maybe understand the language, it feels very pure and grounded in some way, and empowering as well, I guess, because they're often very affirming, right?
Yes, and also in Kundalini yoga, we often say that if a mantra moves you or makes you react in some kind of way, you can always look it up after, because there is an underlying message for you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that the mantras really also open your heart. I see a lot of heart healing and a lot of connection to the heart space and the emotions also when we chant. And in a world that is so numbed out, and that we all are just so addicted to our phones, of this fast dopamine, coming together in class and chant from the heart, it's really a beautiful antidote.
I think that people have suppressed so much of their maybe expression and the feelings, and we're also sometimes, as a, I guess, people watch telly, people are taking in so much broadcasting, but to realize that you can actually also access a lot within you that is much more satisfying than all this external like dopamine or entertainment, or like once you start to connect with like how a yoga class can make you feel, or how nature can make you feel, or as you say, like coming together in a circle of a yoga class or a chanting, then it's like these other things kind of, you get a bit purified from them. They're not as interesting anymore.
Exactly, because we want to experience, we want to be connected to our senses, our sensories. We and it's so difficult in these times because I'm also addicted to my phone. I have it all the time, and I really look so much into it also from my kids' perspective. And we have rules around. We have no screen time in the morning. We hear a lot of music in the morning.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, they're really into music and songs, and they sing, and so we don't have screen time and we don't watch telly in the morning. So I think it's important for us to learn these new generations social skills.
Yeah.
How to be together and how to connect without constantly being on the iPad.
Online. Yeah. I think it's that kind of, for me nowadays, like offline or being in person somewhere with people with no phones, that's like the most luxury, sacred, like that's the real human experience for me. To who am I when I'm not operating from any technology, or how deep can I connect with someone when our screens are not even in the room? Like these kind of things, it's almost like an experiment, because people are, it's so normalized that it's like we have an electric cord to us. And that, like, to just see what happens when there's nothing in the room that's like absorbing people's, I guess, attention at the end of the day, because it's so precious with our attention these days.
And it's also, we are just like in the beginning of the Aquarian age, which is going to take technology to a whole nother level. I don't think that we can comprehend it yet, what this technology and how advanced it will become. But I think that we can use it for our own development. I think that what I hear in my meditations and my whispers from within is human. Be as human as you can. Do all the most human things you can, like clean, cook, like you said, be together, be in like real in real time, in real feel each other's energies. Go to a yoga, go to a concert, like just with humans.
The true human experience.
Definitely think it's and what is so necessary is to connect to our senses and to also our spirit.
And get out of our minds and like into our bodies and experience life from that state of mind, because like what a robot can have an intelligent mind, but it doesn't necessarily connect to, I guess, also the wisdom of the body and the signals from the body, and as you say, like our intuition is maybe something that's hard for an AI to replicate, or what do I know, but
and also like AI and technology cannot create art. That is something that has to be created by humans. Creating art and being in creation is also the antidote to this technology that we will see. So be in creation, moving with the hands, and yeah, really
Yeah,
staying.
like crafting and
Yes,
also I guess adding like the human personal touch. I mean, you do the vintage store, like curating and taking not like mass production, but actually like making something very sacred and unique and bringing the human spirit into the creativity. I think is something very beautiful and something that it makes it stand out as well naturally, because it's kind of, you can recognize that someone made it's from their heart and soul.
yeah, it's human created, and AI is very advanced, and there comes a time when we will have very very big we will have like we cannot maybe see if something is real and something
Yeah.
is. So what we will have to practice and what will help us in these times is getting into our own intuition and getting
Mm.
our own gut feelings, because that is primal. That is what it will
Yeah.
tell what is real, what is not, because we can trust our instincts. We can,
Mm.
the animal part of us,
Yeah.
the the primal parts that
Yeah.
just know things, when you trust your intuition and you trust your gut feeling, seldom takes you the wrong direction.
No. Yeah, and I think as you say, with like instincts and everything, that this kind of numbing and not being disconnected from our bodies makes us more you're more able to like there's a herd of sheeps because they're not connected to themselves, but once you start to connect to your own like truth and what feels right for you, it's like you kind of glitch out a bit from all their being just like unconscious of what's going on, I guess.
Yes, definitely. And the thing I'm also teaching a lot in my classes and my retreats and my gatherings, it's really trusting your intuition,
Yeah.
gut feeling. And how do we learn that? We learn it by the senses,
Mm.
and we learn it by getting embodied, in being in contact with our own body, practicing practicing things that get us out of the mind and
Yeah.
into like pranayam, breathwork,
Yeah.
song, mantra, ice bath,
Mm.
things that take you out of the head and into like, okay, now I'm feeling with all my senses, like
Yeah.
not
Just
being not
sorry.
being afraid of our feelings, of
Mm.
all these polarities we
Yeah.
are. and
Mm.
and we are such complex beings, but what we can is actually feel
Yeah.
the power that we have. We can feel things. We can move
Mm.
through feelings. We can move energy through
Yeah.
moving the body, like just having a 5 minute shake
Mm.
session can totally change your energy,
Yeah.
moving the stagnant energy. And all these kinds of sensory modalities, systems, practices, I'm so into it. I
Yeah.
really that we need to spread those teachings out in the world, so we can all be embodied and
Yeah.
have this magnificent, beautiful human experience that we can also have.
Yes. It's like we're alchemists. Like we can like
Yes,
affect energy if we bring these practices and intention and this we any like feeling that we experience, we can feel it, but we can also release it, and like it helps you navigate through life more easily when you have like for me, I've been very committed to yoga for many years because it helps me feel my feelings and it helps me process stuff, find my center, come back to balance. And I think that if you are also, I guess it's a blessing and a curse, because the more you feel, the more you also need to take care of having spaces and practices to actually process it and be coming back to some kind of center and equilibrium as well, because it can be intense as well. It's not for the faint-hearted, the human experience.
That's actually also one thing that you experience with Kundalini yoga and other kinds of yogas is like your senses are getting more
Attuned.
And you attuned and you feel more, but it's also in that richness of feeling more, like having a good cry.
Yeah.
And can be like so releasing and
yes.
so, right? You can just
Yeah.
feel so connected after a good cry. So I think that it helps with feeling more ease, but it also just helps with experiencing the polarities, the complexity. And now I can't say
yeah.
complexity, no,
yeah
of life, and that is what we came here. We didn't, like we spoke before we went to record. We didn't just to experience summer all the time.
No.
We came here to experience the different phases, the different
all the nuances and contrasts, and
yes,
yeah,
just
and you can't really experience something light if you haven't come out from the dark, like talking about the spring and the cycles and the seasons, that you need one to put it into relationship to something else. And
yes,
it really, in my experience, it really is the deeper your roots grow to hell, the higher the tree grows to heaven, kind of thing. That it's
yes.
like it broadens the spectrum, and it makes life makes life richer but more intense, I guess. But that's the beautiful thing about the human life. It's feeling oriented.
Yeah, and also just feeling all the feels. We didn't just come to experience, like I told you before, like the summer. We came to experience the full spectrum of what our soul wants to learn in this incarnation. And it's so interesting, and that doesn't make my life like, oh, I can just see it in all these kinds of experience. Okay, just good with everything? No, I'm not. Also frustrated and
sad or anxious.
Anxious and all these things, but I think in the underlying, in the subconscious, I know in my heart that I chose these things, so I know I can also get through them.
Yes.
Experience through life that I am very strong and do hard things, and that I can get through very, very hard and dark periods. I've had my winters.
Yeah.
And that's also what makes me really appreciate also when the full summer is here.
Yes, definitely. And I think that it's kind of, if you see life as like waves or spirals or whatever, that the whole, like how the universe is constructed, it feels like it's in this cyclicality. So you kind of just need to embrace that wave and not try to resist it, because resistance creates a lot of struggling or not going with that natural flow. And as you say, like there'll be times when it's darker and tougher, and like not to go unnecessarily deep into them, but to also realize that that's part of the wave that we're riding. So you can't really numb yourself out of that wave either necessarily. And I think
because then you experience the full richness, then the surface level. But
exactly.
if you go through the phases, you also experience all the whole, and that I think is human life. It is, like we talked about, it's not for the faint-hearted.
No.
We would stay up if we didn't want it, and if our soul didn't want it and needed this for evolution of everything.
Consciousness. And I think it really is true that through like pain and suffering, you also learn a lot of grace, because
Yeah.
it kind of humbles you, and you don't take the same things for granted. And as you said about like shallow living, it kind of prevents you from living in a shallow way in the future, because when you've experienced suffering, you're like, okay, the small things can make you quite happy after that, because you
Yes,
you know what real suffering is.
that's on point. Yes, that is totally that way, because there's a time and space for everything. All the
Mm.
I have had periods of my life that has been so dark, so hard, and then I came to another experience and another phase, and now I can really appreciate when things are good, and I
Mm.
also also learned not to stay in the hardship
Yeah,
for too long,
yeah,
and there I've learned to like really have the big cry, and
yeah.
feel the rug pulled under me, and
Mm.
okay, this is where I stand. This is me processing all this.
Mm.
Now we can maybe see things in another light, and
Yes.
a belly laugh with
Yeah.
pride, and
Yes.
really feel alive.
Yeah, and I think as well, yeah, if you're in a bad like mental place or anything, there is still, even though it can be again like with victim mentality in this thing, I think it is also important to try to, even though it's really difficult, but to try to take extra good care of yourself energetically in these times, because like you can't avoid the dark periods, but you don't also need to make them worse than they need to be, or dwell in them for too long, because then you're not doing yourself a favor either. I think it's very important in those times, like if you say the Swedish and the Danish winter time, where it's dark and it's cold and it's maybe naturally a bit more difficult to keep a very elevated state, but to
Yeah,
really commit to practices to
yeah,
keep yourself at least like a bit uplifted, or take a bit of, I call it like energetic hygiene, like some basic stuff to just be like mindful, and also take a bit of responsibility, I guess, and not
yeah.
let yourself just float around and yeah.
I think so. I think that we are so aware of so many things today, and some
Mm.
also be like a curse, because then you
Yes.
don't know what to do. A lot of people come to me and ask me, Angie, can you just tell me what to do? Just
Yes.
give me an A to Z. How can I make my life nice? And how
Mm.
can I do it? And how can I? And for that, I have to say, I'm not interested in that. I'm
Mm.
interested in holding a space for you to investigate this for yourself.
Mm.
I'm very interested in uplifting and inspiring, and also in telling and hearing the hard stories. That
Yeah.
is where we can actually learn from each other and
Mm.
connect, because we can see ourselves in each other. And I believe that us sharing our stories, sharing our truth, is so important, because we
Yeah.
know we're not alone. And if another person can get through something hard, then we can also. But we need to be open and willing to share
Express. Yeah.
about the hard parts.
Yeah. And I think in that way, like you can only in that way lead with example, and like, and it's up to everyone to do their own journey and do their own process. But as you say, like you can hold space for people, you can share how you do, how what works for you, and but it's always up to the individual. I think a lot of people, maybe also in the like spiritual or these healing domains, think that one person can solve their problems, or this kind of thing. It really, the biggest lesson is kind of that you need to be your own guru or healer, and you can get inspired or uplifted or held by other people, but at the end of the day it's up to you and to inquire and connect with yourself. No one else can do that for you.
Exactly. And it's also so important to know that to take these steps, we have to get into the body. We have to feel into, okay, who am I? What is my unique way in life? Not one shoe fits all.
No.
So I hold the space, and I really love to hold space, but I also think that it really is important that we sometimes do like this.
Yeah.
Look inside and take the awareness inside and get to know what we really love, what gives us energy, and what brings us alive.
Yeah.
We all have these special things that are like, okay, this is just something that lights my soul on fire.
Yeah,
you know?
like sparks.
Yeah, and that's so individual, and what brings you alive, what makes you vital and makes you feel like, oh my God, this life is just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And what I feel. It's important to go inside and say, who am I?
Yeah.
What specifically love? And I spend a lot of time in hypnosis, in meditation, in looking at my subconscious I made with myself in childhood and throughout life. And it's hard sometimes, and it's really something I do every morning. This morning, in hypnosis for like an hour.
Wow.
Through these down in the subconscious, and working on and getting familiar with and knowing myself.
Yeah.
Constantly
Inquiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to hold space, and I really, one of my main things in this life is to involve. I love to learn. I always seek to learn and to get to know myself.
Yeah.
And to really give my children and my husband and the people I have in my life another way of living, because I want to take responsibility for my, not just project them out.
Yeah.
Them, right? So I spend a lot of time in getting to learn subconscious.
I think that's such a, and I think with Jade Journeys and this channel, it's funny that you say that, because that's kind of what I want to spread as well, how potent it is to go on like a inward journey and to dare to, because it's, I think some people have also resistance because they're kind of scared of what they might discover, or they might know that maybe there's stuff about themselves that are more uglier or yucky, and they don't really want to think about it. And I think it's like one of the most like profound things that you can do for yourself in this day and age, in this world where we have so much in the Western world at our doorstep, and there's nothing like the hierarchy of needs. Our needs are pretty satisfied, but to go within and to get curious of what's on your inside world, and as you say, in the subconscious, because the subconscious is like the majority of our brain, right? And the conscious mind is so small, and the subconscious is running the show, so it makes sense to like get to know it a bit.
Yeah, and it's like I wake up at 5 or 5:30 or 6, and then before everybody else wakes up, I use that time to connect and to get to know myself.
Yeah.
And also when I project out these triggers, these mirrors, I know, this is because I have a wound.
Yeah.
And it's always like I'm not like this kind of superhuman.
No, we're all imperfectly perfect.
Yeah, and so I know that I can then go back and why did I become so reactive? Why did
Mm,
like this comment or this experience or this behavior trigger something in me? And
mm,
that's very, very interesting when you start to take it in instead of just reacting out.
mm.
I think it's I really love this.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. I've done hypnotherapy a few
Yeah.
years ago, like with a practitioner,
Hmm?
and that was so interesting to have like a dialogue with my subconscious through her. Like she facilitated it,
Okay.
and it's what I think that's so fascinating about the subconscious is that it's quite developed when we're very young, right? So it's very influenced by our childhood. So there's a lot of stuff there that I think that it, for me, some of it was news. I was like, oh really? I didn't.
Yeah.
I That was something I didn't know, that the little Natalie was scared when this happened, and now I can be scared of a similar situation in my reality, but doesn't make sense to be, because as you say, it's a wound, or it's a defense mechanism, or a survival mechanism, or some truth or program or belief that you might have picked up when you were very young and didn't know better.
Yeah, and we make these underlying contracts with ourselves. For instance, if we have this big dream, this is just like
An example.
yes,
Yeah.
and if we have this big dream, and if nothing is happening, then we can look maybe in the underlying, if we really
Mm,
something, but something is holding us back, and we've tried everything, and in some kind of way we are maybe sabotaging
mm,
the involvement or the
yeah.
thing we need to do in this area. It can be like we have an underlying contract with ourselves because we saw our parents do something in childhood, and we don't want to do that.
Mm,
So we don't know that these two are linked. But if we get to know it, we can look at it, and we can do something about it, and we can hold the space for ourselves, and know that I saw this, but actually this is not my reality. It was my parents' reality, and this is what I gained from it, and now I'm here, don't want to move in this direction because my father maybe worked a lot, or
mm,
what do I know, things like that.
mm. Yeah, and I
I
think as well that we are in a generation now, like maybe our parents' lineages, they had a totally different reality that they were living through. Like maybe like my grandmother lived in the wartime in London in the Second World War. Like that's another, that's a totally different
Yes.
way of life. And I think it's almost like a responsibility of our generation to, and I guess for you who you're a mother, you become more conscious about what you're passing on, and to not like or inflict like limiting stuff on your kids, right?
Yes. Yeah, I took motherhood very, like, not serious. I'm very playful, but it's for
Yeah.
me, like, it's I want to give them the freedom to really be who they came to be.
Mm.
So know that my mother journey will impact generations.
Yes.
So it's not something I take light. I really I'm very like childish with my children, and it's
Yeah.
like very free and stuff like that. But I don't take it light. I knew when I was going to be a mother, I knew that I would really, really think about the nervous system.
Mm.
So the way that we, my husband and I, we made an agreement to be as much together with our children when they were little, and
Mm.
still children, but they are like 10 and almost
Yeah.
8, the phase we're in right now. But we made a commitment to really make their nervous system strong and to show them how to create like these
Safe
healthy
attachment styles.
Yes, exactly. That was the word I was looking for. But it was really important for me to have like these
Very conscious parenting.
Yes, and I studied 2 years of psychotherapy when I was 25.
Wow.
I was really into. I've always been interested in psychology, in energy, in human connection. It's just so interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating.
Yes, and we all are so affected by it. In generations about these specific relationships that we form.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting what you say about like generational things and also passing on that. I mean, there's like if you see how before you were incarnated, there's so many lineages of mothers and fathers, of course, but maybe you directly link it like mothers that came before us. And I mean, there weren't that many generations ago where like females didn't have the same rights as men, and I guess in some parts of the world it's not really perfect yet either, but it's happening a lot of stuff in that way. But I think it's a very interesting time now where there's a lot happening around, like that people are going to therapy, people are becoming more aware of what we're passing on and attachment styles, and how are we creating safe places, and what are we like even with climate, and like what are we doing for the next generation kind of thing. So
yes. And we have all the information available now, so we know so much, and that can also be confusing for many people. Where should I start? Should I save the world? Should I save myself? What should I do? And again, I will make it come back to what I've talked so much about, is taking it in. Feeling on it, and not always be so looking outside, looking to our neighbor, looking what our friends do in school. I think the things I've really taught my children, and really my daughter, is like this: do I want to do this? Do I want to play this, or is it okay for my friends to go up and I'll stay on the playground? Like I've learned her this to ask herself, how do I feel? Do I want to go further, or do I want to stay in this play I'm in? And see that she's really reflecting on her own feelings and her own
truth. And
in school they say, oh, she's so like her own person. And I'm super grateful, because something I wish that I would taught more. But just following, and like we are taught in school, and in these institutions. I'm so glad that she learned this from a very young age, to trust, and to trust her own.
Listen to herself as well, because you kind of need to receive yourself in order to listen to yourself. Like you have to value your own truth and your yes and your no and your boundaries, and it's quite complex when it comes to like self-worth and daring to speak up for yourself maybe, and it's quite big concepts to.
Yes, and it's so important that we learn it, that we are true to it, to what we feel, because or else we will all get a crisis when we have 40 and 50, and who am I now? we can do it along the way if we are taught to that it's okay. That is more than okay. That is actually for everybody's best.
Yes.
That we take responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
our own way in life.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like that school maybe in many ways can make people lose that connection because it's often structured quite homogenic, that everyone are assumed to be very similar, and it's kind of some kind of averaging, like, okay, this works for most people, so let's do it this way. So
Yeah.
it's such a gift of you to give that to your daughter, and I guess to your son as well, that they have a bit more sovereignty in how they move through the world, and know that there is no right or wrong way to move through the world. It's just finding your own rhythm, I guess.
Exactly, because then we can also give the people around us that gesture of their terms, that we don't have to be together and do things together that none really wants, but
Yeah.
just because everybody have done it for many
Yeah.
years, go on other journeys like mystical journeys and all sorts of things. If we dare to express our own unique own unique interests, it's become much more rich.
Definitely. And I think as well, when we talk about like, why do we incarnate and what's the purpose, I think one, like for me anyway, one thing that comes to me is to discover yourself and express yourself, and self, like, realization or actualization. And it's such a, that is a very delicate dance of getting to know yourself, and then finding the way, like, not getting too overly identified with who you are, because we're so we're not impermanent, or we're very impermanent beings, but to like really connect to your essence, I guess, and as
Yeah.
you said before, like your passions, your sparks, because everything that you feel something in your heart about, I feel, are clues to what you should be spending your time on earth doing.
And we all have this, like, I don't know if we all have it, but I had many years ago, there's like, oh, life is so long, we're here for so long time, and I surely hope that I
Yeah.
have died this incarnation, but it all really, it's a short time
Yeah.
on this on earth side. So I really think that us staying true and going into what makes us feel alive will
Yes.
take us into our soul's purpose and also into what we came here to experience.
I like this quote. I think it's somebody called like Howard, and he says like, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go and do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
I love that, and I read it, and I really, really resonate with that.
Yeah, me too.
When you are together in an environment, in a setting with people who are inspired, who are in creation, magic happens. You know,
Yeah.
you together or you talk and you see you have a talk that really changes something deep and profound in you, because this person or this meeting or this gathering is full of people coming together and sharing a unique gift and a unique thought that
Yes.
all creates this involvement of creation.
Definitely. And I think that's like when it comes to like spiritual practices and connecting inwards, that maybe people think that that isolates you. But I think that, as you say, when more people do that and then they meet each other, it's so much like innovation can happen, and everyone, because how I see it, it's everything is very perfectly orchestrated, so that like people should work together, and then if everyone do what they're good at, the sum of the parts becomes very big, because everyone contribute with something that expands the conversation or the perspective, or they're very good at innovation or technology, like very able within that realm. So when people then can come together, everyone are bringing out the best of themselves and in each other.
Yeah, and that creates energy, movement. So you pour energy into these collaborations, these gatherings, these things we are doing, because everybody, when they are turned on by life and when they bring something into it so it can go and evolve. And that for me is something I'm very, very lucky to experience many times in my everyday life. It's get to do co-creations with inspiring people, and
I think as well, when you connect more, because I've spent as well like living more in the jungle in Costa Rica and like more secluded, I guess, that once you've been in your own little room for a while and then you come out, you really appreciate human connection and what happens in those spaces, and just appreciating other human beings, because like life would be very boring and empty without relationships and people around you. Like, we are very social beings, so I think that's also such a enriching thing about our life, this what happens when we meet other people, because we can't generate that energy on our own often. It kind of comes in the exchange.
Yes, and we are social beings. We cannot. We are animals, and animals thrive in the pack, and cannot. Humans are very dependent on human contact and energy. So so that is something we need to create spaces and containers for us to come and not just lay in our beds at night scrolling, but going to the concert, going to the gathering, going to the event, and having this full experience, not just
the physical. That's so, it's so fascinating that as well, as you say, like concerts and these larger events, how then you can really feel that when a lot of humans come together and maybe they share music or whatever is connecting them in that moment, how powerful we are when we come together as well, and how much beauty and love can be in the air in these spaces.
Yeah, and I believe that coming together in when in places we get moved so important now also.
Yes.
We can all get so occupied by fear and by all that is being so broadcasted, that getting into the love, in, being moved to get really to feel these other feelings than just staying in anxiety and fear all the time, because it's very, very easy to be there and to hide by that. But if you then go experience an art gallery experience or an art exhibition, and it touches you, it takes you out of the fear and creates
more hope and inspiration.
I really look into creation and into coming together and enjoy music and culture and really sing our hearts out, maybe.
And appreciating, I guess, beauty and artistic abilities. And I think it's such a privilege sometimes if you see someone doing what that you like, okay, wow, they were born to do this. Like if it's somebody with an amazing voice or somebody that's very gifted, like theatrically or whatever, and you to just have the privilege of being there to observe them in their like genius, I think
Yeah.
also can be so like nourishing or uplifting, because you're like, wow, that's like such a amazing show or entertainment, or wow, what a gifted artist. It's so expansive to see the human create beauty, I guess.
Yes, definitely. I love that. And I also think that, like we talked about maybe in the beginning or maybe before we
Yeah.
recorded, doing these human things like cleaning up
Mm.
the house, making a good meal and tasting really the lemon on your fingers as you squeeze
Mm.
out. Maybe have the herbs in your, take them in. I mean, it's it's these really mundane.
Yeah. Make them a ritual.
So make
Yeah.
your life a ritual. I know that this is something that is really, really on my heart because I also incarnated as a Virgo.
Mm.
I really love this daily rituals. These like there's something very spiritual for me in cleaning up my own mess I create.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
take time to. I feel this in now I'm going to tell you my age because I don't know if you saw Karate Kid
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the old days in the 90s or maybe actually in the 80s I cannot remember,
Yeah.
but the Karate Kid and it's like this Mr. Miyagi,
Yeah.
he's the teacher and he's learning this Daniel-san how
Mm-hmm.
wax on, wax off. So this like spiritual teaching and staying present and cleaning up the everyday mess. It's also extremely grounding.
Yeah. I feel that when it comes to like how I take care of my space, like in the evenings, I like to go to bed and I've like made the sofa look really nice. I've folded the blankets, like everything is in its right order, because then I feel like and I have like a peaceful sleep. So like my like evening just clearing everything up so that it looks nice for a fresh day. I feel that that has so much like intention behind it. So when I wake up the next day, I really appreciate like the new day, because it's like everything from all the marks from yesterday are like swept away and I start fresh. And it's
Yeah,
like I think there's so much like symbology behind having these kind of intentions, and
it,
to be like, if you want to, as you say, like make your art life a ritual, or make your, or be the artist of your life, to even in the smallest places to bring some attention and love and human spirit into them, I guess.
yeah, and also it's your sanctuary. So you want
Yes.
to be like energized
Mm.
and I always this can sound so boring, but I always make my bed. First
Yeah.
thing it's like this is when I go out of the room and I look back, I already made the bed. It's just
Yeah. No,
and
I'm totally the same.
and for some people, just like oh my god, they they cannot even comprehend that that's the first thing you
Yeah.
do. So what I'm really also into and up for is the that for people to be who they are
Mm.
and making your bed first thing in the morning is not for you, then
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever floats your boat.
yeah, I believe so much in that. I
Yeah. And that's also, I think, the beauty when you start to realize that I can do life in my own way. I can live in my own way, like whatever feels right in my body, to also trust that and to start living like that, even though it might not be the way that your friends are living or the way that your parents were living or your siblings or whatever, to like dare to just do it your own way, because there's no rules to how it should be done, really. Like that's just an illusion.
exactly, and I really wish from all my heart that every person would know this truth.
Mm.
Because wow, what
Yeah.
other world we will live in if
Yeah.
we didn't have the the urge to always think, oh, should be done in this way, should be done. I know the right way to do it, right? It will be so liberating.
Yeah. And I don't know why I thought about it now, but I saw this quote the other day. I don't know if it was Charles Bukowski, but it was something like, don't make your life another boring book in the bookshelf of the human library or something. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. Like, don't just be one of the other dusty books. Like, make it a bit interesting, and like honor your individuality and who you really are and what feels important for you, even though it doesn't make any sense maybe to the human mind or to other people. That I think we kind of owe that to ourselves as well. If you think about our incarnation and what are the odds that we are even alive, right?
Exactly. It's a miracle.
And it is a miracle.
But I believe so. And I believe that we can really experience so much if we dare to trust our own instincts, if our own taste. You can just be so rooted in a unique way of thinking, of living, of breathing, of eating. I mean, it really leaves other people off the hook because you give yourself the opportunity to experience life fully. You don't need your husband or your friends to be exactly the same.
No, because we're all different. Yeah, that would be boring.
And no evolution, no way of experiencing something different. You know, the contraction and the expansion. Has to be like these small
push and pull kind of.
In some ways, I believe my husband, he is definitely not into Kundalini yoga and all these things that I do. He have his own way. I really appreciate that very much. That go to the sauna together and we can have deep talks about energy and all these kinds of things. But he is very much different than I am. Very attractive. I don't have a clone of myself telling me that I'm right in everything. Things and telling me, oh, I look this in a different way, and I also think that we should do this with the deca. And I'm just like, I have the deca, okay? I am the one telling and seeing and cannot tell me. So, like, I really love that we can that different and that we can learn.
We can help each other learn and challenge each other and everyone brings different things to the table, right? And I think as well when it comes to like, because I think some people like, oh, if I'm like in the spiritual practices and all this, that kind of secludes you off from being with people that don't live in that way. It's more like it's just nice to be around different people that do different kind of things, because everyone, like for some people, they might find their path is through some sport or something that connects them, or like playing golf in the nature or whatever it might be, that is their way of finding that like contemplative state or meditative state or whatever it might be. So that like to live, I also saw that not long ago, that everything that you do with love is a spiritual practice. And I think that it like there's so many ways of finding like what maybe spirituality or connecting to yourself means for you. I mean, maybe someone's like an architect or a designer and they really pour their whole like inside world into that to create spaces and with intention. Like there's so many ways for that side of them to express itself.
Exactly, and it's in differences we learn, you know, and it's not that my life is perfect, and it's not that I not get irritating or in an argument with my husband. It's totally not that, because we actually really also speak about the things that we are very vocal about what's not feeling good in my experience, and he is also very good at being vocal with what if I'm crossing something with worries. But I think that is important, that it's not like something that is bad to tell, that I think it actually enriches the relationship in having these conversation, these difficult talks, and also have arguments. I think it's important. I know that we could just live in a relationship.
Can't just be airy fairy.
No, I don't believe in that. I believe that I'm very straight with my man, and also, and he's also with me, and that I think is a strength.
Definitely, and keeping it real as well. Like when it comes to, like, some things are difficult, and to be in a relationship, it's not going to be like a dance every day. It's like, as you said, expansion, contraction. Like, it is another person. It's another, like, totally different being to relate to, and to find like harmony and symbiosis and common ground and shared values, but also like differences, and that the polarity is often what brings us together as well, because we can kind of help each other and complement each other.
I think definitely that is the point in coming together in relationship, is learning from each other. And also, I attracted my husband because I need something that he matched, and vice versa. He attracted me because I am a healing.
It's very beautiful how it works when it comes to like coupling, I guess, that's the beauty of relationships, that no human is an island. Like we need each other, and like, even if we can be strong, we can also share our strength and become stronger together.
And I think we dare to live in a close relationship with big differences, with big, not being
like contrasts.
With the contrast, I think that it's something that really involves us, and also create this a sexual spark.
Like chemistry.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I feel like we've gone on now for an hour or so, and it's so nice to speak to you. It's funny because this is the first time we speak to each other, but I feel like we are very similar in a lot of senses in what we our experiences and how we view stuff. So it's so beautiful to connect, and I feel like there's more to cover when it comes to both Kundalini and the nervous system, and I'm very curious to hear more about the subconscious work you do with yourself, and I think that that's definitely something that can be of value for other people to hear more about, that got a bit interested or curious. So maybe you can come back again in the future and have a little other visit on the channel and contribute with all your knowledge in these realms, because you're very embodied in all of this, so it's so nice to hear from you firsthand.
Oh, thank you so much. I really loved our talk. I seriously can't understand that an hour went by like this. But it's very natural, and it was very inspiring. And thank you so much for inviting me into your beautiful space and your presence. I really felt like this was so cozy.
Yeah, I agree. Like a little chat just with a friend, which is like, when it comes to the Aquarian age, I feel that that's the beauty of technology as well. Even though we've been talking about the physical meeting, I mean, we live in different countries and different cities, that you can still get a taste for it through some of these technological inventions, I guess. And there's something beautiful about that in this day and age as well.
Yes, I love to connect with this. in this way. And also just we found each other on Instagram. I think that Instagram and social media platforms get a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I also have experienced the most profound connections
Mm.
to this platform. So I
Yeah,
think that
it's a blessing. It's like sometimes I think about it as like a sacred library or diary of where you
yes,
can express kind of your true colors a bit, and then people that resonate with that will find you, which is kind of almost like an experiment.
yeah, and I love it. I love that we can connect with each other in this way.
Mm. And if you
That
come to Stockholm or if I come to Copenhagen, then we can see each other in the real world.
love that.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to end the recording here. And thank you everyone for listening. If you made it this far in this flowy conversation about life and yoga and existing, I guess. And we'll be back here again soon. Lots of love.